When Cristobal Balenciaga created his namesake label in 1917, who would have ever thought that the label would turn into one of the most controversial luxury houses on the planet? And while it may be interesting to go back that far, our journey of Balenciaga's rise and precipitous fall from collective grace starts in 1997 with the appointment of creative director Nicolas Ghesquière. I'm Reggie Casual, and this is WTH Rise and Fall Edition. Let's get it. Balenciaga was enjoying a renaissance in the mid to late 90s. Formerly a couture line run by Balenciaga himself, the label began to wane after his death in 1972 and was a dormant label until 1986, where the label was acquired by the Bogart Group. Designer Michel Goma would lead design, and while commercially successful, the label was drifting further away from its high-fashion architectural roots. In 1991, Josephus Themister replaced Goma, but was fired due to having punishingly loud music at the fall-winter 1997 runway, leading to audience members vacating the premises. A controversy that seems tame by today's standards. By 1997, Balenciaga was helmed under the creative director of self-taught designer Nicolas Ghesquière, a hire made in the spirit of Cristobal Balenciaga himself, as he too was self-taught. From 1997 onward, Ghesquière would implement a refreshing take to Balenciaga's offerings, referencing early designs from the house and exceeding sales expectations, while also maintaining the spirit of the label's rule-breaking design ethos. Thus, under Ghesquière, Balenciaga would experience a renaissance, and it all came to a head when in 2001, Ghesquière released Balenciaga's first it bag, the Lariat. The instant classic made it a must-have for the socially wealthy and fashionably inclined, and ostensibly put Balenciaga back on the map as a serious player in luxury fashion. 2001 would also be the year that Balenciaga would be sold to the Kering Group, the same group that owns Gucci, thus beginning a new era of Balenciaga, one, unfortunately, rife with controversy. While Balenciaga's first menswear collection debuted in 2002, it was the same year Nicolas Ghesquière imitated the work of Kai-Sik Wang, a designer from San Francisco. Ghesquière created a patchwork vest in his spring collection that resembled the one that Wang designed in 1973. Ghesquière admitted in an interview in Paris that he had copied the garment. The label weathered the controversial storm and continued to be incredibly profitable, albeit under far more scrutiny. By 2013, Balenciaga and Ghesquière were on less than amicable terms, resulting in Kering issuing a lawsuit of $10 million USD against the designer due to comments that were, quote, detrimental to the company image. Ghesquière would state, "I was being sucked dry, like they wanted to steal my identity while trying to homogenize things, and Balenciaga has plans to open up a load of stores in really mediocre spaces." According to Kering's complaint, such comments violated the party's separation agreement that Ghesquière signed in October of 2012. The issue was settled out of court and the party separated in 2015, which marked the beginning of new creative director Alexander Wang. Wang's tenure at Balenciaga was more so a referendum on the talent of the designer rather than if he was the right choice. His collections were smart, but not nearly as earth-shattering as when the label was revived by Ghesquière. The feelings must have been the same for Kering, as Alexander Wang only spent 3 years helming the design direction. That same year, Demi Vasali of Vêtements fame was tapped to be creative lead, leading to a string of missteps that cost the brand its image and reputation. While Vasali's brand of cultural pastiche mixed with an avant-garde meets street dynamic played well with its brand new audience, primarily transplants from Vêtements, it didn't win many for who longed for a return of the years of Ghesquière. However, under Vasali, Balenciaga would achieve a kind of commercial success that few brands ever achieve, to eventually banking on the cultural cachet of artists, such as Kanye West. Balenciaga became a cultural phenomenon, but sometimes at the expense of being risque to the point of being offensive. The first major outrage came in 2021 in the form of sweatpants with boxers showing accents made to play off sagging pants that were prominent among inner city and urban Black Americans. The brand was chastised for being racist and selling this culture for luxury prices. The pants debuted at $1,200 USD, and while the fire was felt, the fact is Balenciaga made press, pissed people off, and became more popular than ever. A strategy they would continue to use. But this instance wouldn't come close to its most recent scandal, leading to a fall from grace that immediately sent the brand into damage control. With the release of two controversial campaigns, one showing children with bondage-clad teddy bear bags, and another featuring a SCOTUS document about child pornography laws, the brand has officially crossed a bridge too far. Right after parting ways with Kanye West for his anti-Semitic comments, no less. Another controversy that had nothing to do with the former. The brand issued apologies for the campaigns, very publicly sued the creative agency that created the ad for millions, but to no avail. The public outrage had settled in. It even led to the normally reticent Visalia to state that he will learn from this, which is the same line Balenciaga themselves made. This precipitous fall from collective grace, even from diehard modern Balenciaga fans, is palpable to say the least. The question is, what happens next? While Balenciaga will serve its time in the court of public opinion, they are likely banking on the highly anticipated Adidas collaboration to see how the chips may fall. The problem they face is if consumers will shy away from their products, knowing full well those wearing Balenciaga will seem as if they are in support of the label's viewpoint. Whether that viewpoint is not what they intended is of no consequence. The fact that it's out there for all to see makes this a particularly hard sell. Apologies are the least of the brand's worries. My thoughts? Balenciaga is at fault here, no question. Having worked in marketing and creative production, I can tell you nothing gets by the desk of a client without approval. I explain all this in my video, Let's Get Real About Balenciaga. And it was good on those industries and those who work in this industries or who practice law for pointing out the cracks in Balenciaga's wall of scapegoating. The label needs to go back to its groundbreaking design roots rather than banking on controversial media to sell ideas. But on the other hand, Balenciaga has developed a strong consumer base outside of the West. And while many of those fans may share the same sentiments as the Western ones, the fact that Balenciaga's follies are being primarily spoken through a Western fashion lens means cultural context and outrage is lost once you start moving further east. For instance, in Japan, the ad was frowned upon, but the massive social outrage was clearly not as fervent as it was out west. That all being said, the Western voice is powerful and may even force Balenciaga into restructuring, possibly letting go of Denma. I wouldn't hold my breath on that though. The only way to get past it would be to overhaul almost everything. Is that going to happen? I'd say it's 50-50, but the label let go of a designer for having loud music at a runway show. This has to be about 10,000 times worse. And that's another rise and fall in the bag, but what are your thoughts on Balenciaga as far as coming back from this are concerned? Yes, nay, nuance, let it all be known in the comments. If you want more content, access to our private Discord, you want to talk fashion, or even access to our fashion brand building series and monthly webinar, join us on Patreon for all that and more. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info in international fashion culture and business from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu, and I will see you guys in a minute.